Welcome to the World Register. The World Register is an independent news source providing truthful, unbiased, and timely reporting about people, places, and events. Reuters news agency reports German Chancellor Angela Merkel said on Saturday that her bilateral meeting with Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan revealed deep differences between the two NATO allies. Speaking to reporters at the end of the two-day G20 summit in Hamburg, Germany, Chancellor Merkel said, quote, "The many arrests, the overall actions in Turkey, and the failure to allow visits to Öztürk, which is an airbase, those are all developments that show deep differences, and we did not sweep them under the table." End quote. Chancellor Merkel went on to say President Erdogan and Turkey were very engaged in the summit, and G20 members did acknowledge Turkey's contribution in caring for millions of refugees from Syria and Iraq. Earlier this year, President Erdogan lashed out at Germany for blocking several political rallies on its soil in the run-up to a referendum in Turkey. Speaking at a women's rally in March in Istanbul, President Erdogan said, quote, "Your practices are not different from the Nazi practices of the past." As reported by Reuters news agency, Islamic State militants vowed to fight to the death in Mosul on Saturday as Iraqi military commanders said that they would take full control of the city from the insurgents at any moment. Dozens of Iraqi soldiers celebrated amid the rubble on the banks of the Tigris River without waiting for a formal victory declaration, some dancing to music blaring out from a truck and firing automatic weapons into the air. Nearly 1 million Mosul residents are displaced by months of combat, many of whom are living in camps outside the city with little relief from the summer heat. Speaking with Reuters reporters, Mohammed Haji Ahmed, 43, a clothing trader, said, quote, "If there is no rebuilding and people don't return to their homes and regain their belongings, what is the meaning of liberation?" End quote. Earlier on Saturday, a military spokesman said the insurgents' defense lines were collapsing. A Syrian state television presenter announced that they are seeing now the last meters or yards, and the final victory will be announced. She went on to say that it's a matter of hours. However, the Islamic State's Amaq news agency reported fierce fighting around the riverside district of Maidan and said its followers were holding on to their fortified positions. The news agency went on to say, quote, "The fighters of the Islamic State are collectively pledging to fight to the death in Maidan." End quote. And RT reports today that with piles of wreckage, burned out barricades, and broken glass all around, Hamburg, Germany now looks like a battlefield instead of a host city of a G20 summit. According to the report, city services are currently removing bottles and broken glass from the streets. However, the city is preparing for another round of protests. Speaking to RT, one witness said, quote, "The violence yesterday was awful, and I don't understand the message they are trying to send. It is violence. It is simply tragic." End quote. Another resident said, quote, "What was clear from the very beginning was that the police did nothing. The officers gathered in small groups. Generally, you could say it was incompetence." End quote. Photos and videos on social media show the city streets filled with broken glass and the remnants of barricades.